He was just a single dad, trying to survive another day at the office. But when he pushed open the wrong door, he saw something he was never meant to see. The billionaire CEO, half-dressed, staring right at him. 1 second. One mistake. And his entire life was about to explode. Keep watching, because this tiny accident will turn the Ice Queen's heart upside down, and give a little girl the family she always dreamed of. Ethan Cole, a single dad exhausted after 2 years of juggling being a father and an office worker, was supposed to deliver a report on time. But when he pushed open the wrong door, his whole life stopped. In the room was not a conference table, but Vivian Harlow, a billionaire CEO, changing clothes. Completely surprised, completely unprepared to meet anyone. An impossible moment had happened. And from that moment, Ethan's job, future, and heart were all about to be turned upside down. Could a single mistake be enough to change his entire life? Ethan stood in the hallway with his back pressed against the wall. His hands were shaking. The report folder had fallen somewhere near his feet. He could not move, could not breathe, could not think past the image burned into his brain. Vivian Harlow, half-dressed, staring at him with those cold gray eyes. He was done, finished. 2 years at Harlow Innovations erased in 3 seconds. The building hummed around him. Fluorescent lights, distant voices, the faint ping of elevator doors. Everything felt surreal, like the moment before a car crash, when time stretches thin. And you see everything coming but cannot stop it. Someone walked past, a woman from accounting. She glanced at him, but did not slow down. Ethan forced himself to move. He picked up the folder, straightened his tie, walked toward the elevator with legs that did not feel like his own. He had woken up that morning the same way he woke up every morning. 5:30 alarm blaring. Lily's small voice from the other room asking if it was pancake day. It wasn't pancake day. It was never pancake day on Tuesdays, but she asked anyway. Because she was 6 and hopeful and still believed her father could make miracles happen. Between coffee and carpool, he had kissed her forehead, made toast, packed her lunch with the crusts cut off the way she liked, drove her to school while she sang along to some song about butterflies, dropped her off, watched her run toward the gate with her backpack bouncing. That image always stayed with him. The backpack, the way it was too big for her small frame. The way she never looked back because she trusted he would always be there when she came out. Then he had driven to Harlow Innovations, parked in the far lot because senior staff took the close spots. Rode the elevator to the 8th floor, sat at his desk in the corner of the open office plan, where nobody noticed him unless something went wrong. That was his life. Wake up. Keep Lily alive. Keep his job. Repeat. He was not supposed to be anywhere near the executive floor today. But his manager had been sick. The quarterly report needed to go up. Someone had to deliver it. Ethan had volunteered because he always volunteered. Because he needed to be the reliable one. The one who showed up. The one who did not complain. Conference room B, 14th floor. That was what his manager had said. Ethan had taken the elevator, walked down the pristine hallway with its glass walls. An abstract art that probably cost more than his annual salary. He had checked his watch. 7 minutes until the board meeting. Plenty of time. He had reached for the door handle, pushed it open, and his life had imploded. Now he sat in his car in the parking lot. It was nearly noon. He had no memory of leaving the building. No memory of walking to his car. He stared at the steering wheel. His phone buzzed. A text from the school. Reminder about early dismissal on Friday. He deleted it. His hands were still shaking. Vivian Harlow did not know his name. She had never looked at him before today. She was a figure you saw in company emails, in the glass-walled conference rooms on the top floor, in the annual reports that celebrated another record-breaking year. She wore sharp suits, spoke in clipped sentences, fired people with the efficiency of someone canceling a subscription service. The company called her the Ice Queen, not to her face, never to her face. But everyone knew. Everyone felt the cold. Ethan had seen her once in the lobby. She had walked past him without a glance. He had felt small, invisible, which was fine. Invisible was safe. He was not invisible anymore. His phone rang. Unknown number. He let it go to voicemail. It rang again. Same number. He answered. Mr. Cole, this is Jessica from Executive Affairs. Miss Harlow would like to see you in her office at 2 o'clock today. 14th floor. Suite A. Please confirm. Ethan opened his mouth. No sound came out. The woman on the phone waited. I'll be there, he finally said. The line went dead. He sat in the car for another 20 minutes. Then he drove to a coffee shop, ordered something he did not drink. Sat by the window, watched people walk past. Normal people with normal problems. People who had not just committed career suicide. At 1:45, he drove back, parked, took the elevator. Walked down the hallway towards Suite A. His heart hammered against his ribs. The door was solid wood, expensive. A small plaque read, Vivian Harlow, Chief Executive Officer. He knocked. Come in. Her voice was calm, controlled. The same voice that had said nothing when he had stumbled backward and slammed the door 3 hours ago. Ethan stepped inside. The office was larger than his apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. Minimalist furniture. A desk that looked like it had been carved from a single piece of black marble. Vivian sat behind it. She wore a different suit now, charcoal gray, perfectly pressed. Her hair was pulled back. Her expression was unreadable. Sit, she said. He sat. She looked at him for a long moment. He tried to meet her eyes. Failed. Stared at the edge of her desk instead. Mr. Cole, you delivered the quarterly report this morning. Yes, you were supposed to leave it in conference room B. Yes, you did not leave it in conference room B. No, I opened the wrong door. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to. She held up one hand. He stopped talking. I read your proposal last month, Vivian said. The one about streamlining client onboarding. Your manager dismissed it. Said it was too ambitious for someone at your level. Ethan blinked. He had no idea where this was going. I disagreed, she continued. I thought it showed initiative, clear thinking. An understanding of our inefficiencies that most senior staff do not have. She opened a folder on her desk, slid a single sheet of paper across to him. I am launching a pilot program. 6 months small team. Your proposal as the foundation. I want you to lead it. Ethan stared at the paper. It was a project outline. His name was already typed at the top. I don't understand, he said. Vivian leaned back in her chair. Her expression did not change. This morning was unfortunate for both of us. But it does not change the fact that you have a good idea. And this company needs good ideas. I do not make business decisions based on embarrassment. I make them based on value. You have value. Do you want the position or not? Ethan's brain could not process what was happening. He had walked in here expecting to be fired, possibly escorted out by security. Instead, he was being handed the opportunity he had been hoping for since he started working here. I want it, he said. Good. You will report directly to me. We will meet twice a week to review progress. I expect results. I expect professionalism. I expect you to prove that my decision was correct. Understood? Understood. She stood, extended her hand. He stood as well, shook it. Her grip was firm, brief. Jessica will send you the details. Your first meeting is Thursday at 9. Do not be late. I won't be. He turned to leave. Mr. Cole. He stopped, looked back. Vivian's expression was still unreadable, but something in her eyes had shifted just slightly. The door was unlocked, she said. I should have locked it. The mistake was not entirely yours. He did not know what to say to that. So he nodded, left the office, walked down the hallway in a daze. The elevator doors closed. He leaned against the wall, let out a breath he had been holding for hours. His phone buzzed. A reminder. Pick up Lily at 3:15. He checked his watch. 2:20. He had time. Ethan drove to the school, parked, waited. When Lily came running out, backpack bouncing, he scooped her up and held her tight. "Daddy, you're squishing me," she said. But she was laughing. "Sorry, kiddo. Just happy to see you. Did you have a good day?" Ethan sat her down, opened the car door, helped her into her booster seat. "Yeah," he said. "I think I did." He had no idea what came next. But for the first time in 2 years, he felt something other than exhaustion. He felt hope. The first meeting was scheduled for Thursday at 9 o'clock. Ethan arrived at 8:45. He sat in the waiting area outside Vivian's office with a portfolio of notes. He had stayed up until midnight preparing. His tie felt too tight. He loosened it, tightened it again. Jessica glanced at him from her desk, but said nothing. At exactly 9, the office door opened. Vivian stood in the doorway. Same sharp suit, same unreadable expression. "Come in," she said. He followed her inside. She gestured to the small conference table by the window. He sat. She sat across from him. Between them was a leather folder and a silver pen that probably cost more than his car payment. "Walk me through your implementation strategy," Vivian said. Ethan opened his portfolio, began talking. She listened without interrupting. Her eyes stayed on him. He could not tell if she was impressed or bored or calculating how quickly she could replace him. When he finished, she tapped one finger against the table. "Your timeline is optimistic," she said. "I can adjust it." "Do not adjust it. Optimism is useful. Just be prepared for delays." She pulled out her own folder, slid a budget breakdown across to him. The numbers were higher than he expected. Significantly higher. "You will have access to these resources. Use them wisely. I do not tolerate waste." "Understood." They worked through logistics for the next hour. Software needs, personnel allocation, reporting structures. It was all business, professional, efficient. But every time their eyes met, Ethan felt the weight of what had happened on Tuesday. The door, the frozen moment, the mortification. If Vivian felt it too, she did not show it. When the meeting ended, she stood, extended her hand. He shook it. Her grip was the same as before. Firm, brief. "Next meeting is Monday. Same time. Bring preliminary data." "I will." He left. Walked back to his desk on the 8th floor. His coworker, Daniel, leaned over the partition. "Heard you got a promotion. Working directly with Harlow now." "Something like that." Daniel whistled low. "Rather you than me? That woman does not smile ever." "Good luck, man." Ethan did not respond. He opened his laptop and got to work. The second meeting went the same way. Professional, focused. No mention of Tuesday. The third meeting. The fourth. By the end of the second week, Ethan had stopped checking his tie every 5 minutes. Stopped rehearsing his updates in the elevator. Vivian was demanding but fair. She asked hard questions, expected clear answers. But she also listened. Actually listened, which was more than most executives did. On the 5th meeting, something shifted. Ethan was explaining a bottleneck in the client intake process when Vivian's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, frowned, silenced it. 2 minutes later, it buzzed again. She ignored it. "Continue," she said. He continued. The phone buzzed a third time. Vivian picked it up, read the message, her jaw tightened. "Excuse me." She stood, walked to the window, answered the call. "Mother, I told you I'm in a meeting." "No, I am not coming to the gala. We discussed this because I have a company to run. Goodbye." She ended the call, stood there for a moment with her back to him. When she turned around, her expression was smooth again, controlled. But Ethan had seen the crack just for a second. "Where were we?" she asked. "The intake process." They finished the meeting. But something had changed. She was not just the ice queen anymore. She was a person with a mother who called during work hours, with a life outside these glass walls. The next meeting, Vivian asked about his daughter. It was casual. A throwaway question at the end of their discussion. How old is your daughter? Ethan looked up from his notes. 6. Her name is Lily. Child care must be difficult with this schedule. I manage. My neighbor helps when I work late. Vivian nodded. Did not elaborate. But the fact that she asked at all felt significant. By the 4th week, they had fallen into a rhythm. Meetings were still professional, but the edges had softened. Vivian made a dry joke about corporate bureaucracy. Ethan laughed. She almost smiled. Almost. One afternoon, they ended a meeting early. Ethan stood to leave. Vivian glanced at her watch. Have you had lunch? He had not. No. There is a decent place 2 blocks down. We can continue the discussion there. It was not an invitation. It was an extension of the meeting. That was what Ethan told himself as they rode the elevator down together. As they walked side by side through the lobby. As they sat across from each other in a quiet bistro where the tables had actual tablecloths. And the menu did not list prices. They talked about the project, market trends, competitor analysis. Then Vivian asked about Lily again. What does she want to be when she grows up? Ethan smiled. Last week it was a veterinarian. This week it is an astronaut. Next week it will be something else. She sounds adaptable. She is. She has to be. Vivian set down her fork. How long have you been on your own? 2 years. Her mother left when Lily was 4. Decided parenthood was not for her. I have not heard from her since. He had not meant to say that much. But Vivian's expression had shifted. Something gentler, something almost like understanding. That must be difficult. She said it is, but Lily is worth it. She is the only thing that makes sense. Vivian looked at him for a long moment. Then she picked up her fork again. You are doing well with the project. Better than I expected. Thank you. They finished lunch, walked back, did not mention it again. But the next week she suggested lunch again. And the week after that it became routine. Meetings, lunch, conversations that started about work and drifted into other things. Vivian mentioned her mother's relentless social calendar. Ethan talked about Lily's obsession with building blanket forts. Neither of them acknowledged what was happening. That the walls were coming down. That the Ice Queen was melting. Then came the afternoon in late October. Ethan was in Vivian's office. They were reviewing quarterly projections. His phone rang. He glanced at the screen. The school. He silenced it. 30 seconds later, it rang again. Same number. Answer it, Vivian said. He did. Hello, Mr. Cole. This is Principal Matthews. Lily is in the office. She says no one came to pick her up. We have been calling your emergency contact, but there is no answer. Ethan's stomach dropped. What time is it? 3:30. School dismissal was at 3 o'clock. He had forgotten. Completely forgotten. He had been so focused on the presentation that he had lost track of time. His neighbor was supposed to pick up Lily today, but his neighbor was not answering. I will be there in 20 minutes, Ethan said. He stood, grabbed his jacket. I am so sorry. I have to go. I will send the updated numbers tonight. He was halfway to the door when Vivian spoke. I will drive you. He turned. What? She was already standing, already reaching for her coat. Your car is in the far lot. Mine is in the executive garage. We will be there faster. Come on. They took the elevator to the underground garage. Vivian's car was a sleek black sedan that probably cost more than Ethan's annual salary. She drove with the same precision she brought to everything else. Efficient, controlled, but fast. Ethan called the school, told them he was on the way. His hands were shaking. He had never forgotten Lily. Not once in 2 years. He was the reliable one, the one who showed up. She will be fine, Vivian said. Her voice was calm, steady. I forgot her. You were working. It happens. It should not happen. Vivian glanced at him. You are not a bad father because you lost track of time once. You are human. They pulled up in front of the school. Ethan jumped out, ran inside. Lily was sitting in the office with her backpack on her lap. Her face was red. She had been crying. Daddy. He scooped her up, held her tight. I'm so sorry, kiddo. I'm so sorry. You forgot me, she said into his shoulder. I know. I messed up. It will not happen again. He carried her outside. Vivian was standing by the car. Lily looked at her with wide eyes. Who is that? Lily whispered. That is Miss Harlow. She works with Daddy. She gave us a ride. Vivian stepped forward, crouched down so she was eye level with Lily. Hello, Lily. I've heard a lot about you. Lily studied her. You're pretty. A smile flickered across Vivian's face. Genuine, brief, but real. Thank you. You're very pretty, too. Do you like butterflies? I do. Do you want to see my butterfly drawing? I made it in art class. I would love to. Lily climbed into the back seat, pulled out a crumpled piece of paper, showed it to Vivian. They looked at it together. Vivian asked questions. Lily answered. And for the first time since Ethan had met her, Vivian looked completely at ease. She drove them home. Ethan tried to apologize again for the inconvenience. Vivian waved him off. It was no inconvenience. They pulled up in front of Ethan's apartment building. It was not much. A small 2-bedroom in a complex that had seen better decades. Lily unbuckled her seat belt, leaned forward. Do you want to come inside? We have juice boxes. Vivian looked at Ethan. He should say no. Should thank her and let her leave. But he did not. You are welcome to come in, he said. She turned off the engine. Inside, the apartment was small but clean. Lily's drawings covered the fridge. Her toys were scattered across the living room floor. Vivian did not seem to notice. She sat on the couch while Lily brought her a juice box and 3 more butterfly drawings. Ethan made coffee, stood in the kitchen, and watched them. Vivian listened to Lily talk about her day with the same focus she brought to board meetings. She asked follow-up questions, laughed at Lily's jokes. And Lily, who was usually shy around strangers, blossomed under the attention. An hour later Lily yawned. Ethan checked the time. Almost 6. Bath time, kiddo. Can Miss Harlow stay for dinner? Ethan looked at Vivian. She met his eyes. Something unspoken passed between them. I should go, Vivian said, but she did not stand up. Please stay, Lily said. Daddy makes good spaghetti. Vivian smiled. I am sure he does. She stayed. Ethan cooked. Vivian helped Lily set the table. They ate together. The conversation was easy. Light. Lily asked Vivian about her job. Vivian answered in terms a 6-year-old could understand. Lily told stories about school. Vivian listened. After dinner, Ethan put Lily to bed. When he came back to the living room, Vivian was standing by the door with her coat on. Thank you for today, Ethan said. You already thanked me 3 times. I know, but I mean it. She looked at him the same way she had looked at him in the restaurant, in the car, in the office. Like she was seeing something she had not expected to find. She is wonderful, Vivian said. You're doing a good job. I forgot to pick her up. And you fixed it. That is what matters. They stood in the doorway. The space between them felt smaller than it should. I should let you go, Ethan said. Yes, you should. Either of them moved. Vivian reached for the door handle, stopped, turned back. The door you opened, she said quietly. That Tuesday. Maybe it was not the wrong door. Ethan's breath caught. What do you mean? I mean, maybe it was exactly the door you were supposed to open. She left before he could respond. Ethan stood in the empty hallway, listened to her footsteps fade, closed the door, leaned against it. Everything had just changed. Over the next 3 weeks, Vivian came to dinner twice more. She brought Lily books about space, about butterflies. She sat on the floor and helped build blanket forts. She laughed at Lily's jokes. And she looked at Ethan when she thought he was not watching. He was always watching. One evening in late November, after Lily was in bed, they sat on the porch. The air was cold. The street was quiet. Vivian had her coat wrapped tight. "I have been thinking," she said. "About what?" "About doors. About mistakes. About the things we tell ourselves to stay safe." Ethan looked at her. "What have you been telling yourself?" "That I don't have time for this. That it is inappropriate. That I am your boss and you are my employee and there are rules for a reason. Those are good reasons. They are logical reasons, but they are not the whole truth." "What is the whole truth?" Vivian turned to face him. The street light caught her eyes, made them softer, warmer. "The truth is that the door you opened was not a mistake. It was the first honest thing that has happened to me in years. And I do not want to go back to pretending it did not." Ethan could not breathe, could not think, could only feel the weight of what she was saying. "I do not want to go back either," he said. She smiled. A real smile, full, unguarded. "Then maybe we do not have to." She stood. He stood. They faced each other in the dim light. The world felt very small, very quiet. "This is the best mistake I've ever made," Ethan said. Vivian reached for his hand, held it. "Then let us make it on purpose." And for the first time in 2 years, Ethan believed that everything might actually be okay. December came fast. The project was ahead of schedule. Ethan had assembled a small team, built the framework, tested the system with 3 pilot clients. The results were better than projected. Vivian reviewed his weekly reports with the same sharp focus she brought to everything. But now, when their meetings ended, she stayed. They talked about work, about Lily, about nothing important and everything that mattered. They were careful. No one at the office knew. They kept their distance in public. Separate elevators, no lingering glances in the hallway. But twice a week, Vivian came to dinner. Lily had started calling her Miss Viv. She brought drawings home from school specifically to show her. Asked when she was coming back, fell asleep on the couch next to her, while they watched movies about talking animals. Ethan had not felt this settled in years. Like he was building something real, something that could last. Then Marcus noticed. Marcus Sullivan was Senior Vice President of Operations. He had been with the company for 15 years. He sat 2 seats away from Vivian in board meetings. He was the kind of man who smiled when he spoke, but never with his eyes. Ethan was leaving Vivian's office one Thursday afternoon when Marcus stepped out of the elevator. He glanced at Ethan, then at the office door. His expression did not change. But something sharpened in his gaze. "Cole, right?" Marcus said. "The new project lead." "Yes, sir. Spending a lot of time up here lately. The project requires close collaboration." Marcus smiled. "I am sure it does." He walked past. Ethan stood there. A cold feeling settled in his chest. The following week, Marcus attended one of their progress meetings. He sat in the corner, did not speak, just watched, took notes. When the meeting ended, he shook Ethan's hand. "Impressive work. Very impressive, especially for someone who was filing reports 2 months ago." Ethan forced a smile. "Thank you." After Marcus left, Vivian closed the door, turned to Ethan. "He's fishing," she said. "For what?" "Anything he can use. Marcus has wanted my position for years. If he thinks he can leverage something against me, he will. Should we? We should do nothing differently. We are running a project. That is all anyone needs to know." But Ethan could see the tension in her shoulders. The way her jaw tightened. She was worried. 2 weeks later, the board requested a review. Unscheduled. Immediate. Vivian was called into a closed session. She came back an hour later. Her face was composed, but her hands were clenched. "They asked about you," she said. Ethan's stomach dropped. What did they ask? Why I gave the project to someone with limited experience. Whether my judgment was compromised, whether there was any conflict of interest. What did you tell them? I told them your results speak for themselves. I showed them the data, the client feedback, the efficiency improvements. They have nothing concrete, just suspicion. Suspicion is enough. Vivian met his eyes. Not if we finish strong. The final presentation is in 3 weeks. If you deliver, they will have to accept that I made the right call. And if I do not, then Marcus wins. Ethan worked 18-hour days. He refined every detail, rehearsed every slide, ran scenario analysis until his eyes burned. Vivian reviewed his work, pushed him harder. She did not come to dinner, did not call. They barely spoke outside of project updates. Lily noticed. One night, she climbed into Ethan's lap while he was going over spreadsheets. Is Miss Viv mad at us? She asked. No, kiddo. She's just busy. Does she still like us? Ethan held her close. She still likes us. But he was not sure anymore. The night before the presentation, Ethan sat in his apartment, stared at his laptop. Everything was ready. The numbers were solid. The presentation was flawless. But his hands were shaking. If this failed, he lost the job, lost the opportunity. Vivian lost credibility. And whatever they had been building together would collapse. Under the weight of corporate politics and bad optics. He thought about calling her, decided against it, went to bed, did not sleep. The presentation was scheduled for 10 o'clock in the morning. Full board attendance. Marcus would be there. So would the CFO, the head of investor relations, everyone who mattered. Ethan arrived at 9. Vivian was already in the conference room. She looked at him, something unreadable in her eyes. Are you ready? She asked. I think so. Think is not good enough. I am ready. She nodded, walked to the window, stood there for a long moment. Ethan. Yes. Regardless of what happens today, you did excellent work. I want you to know that. It sounded like goodbye. Ethan hated it. The board filed in, took their seats. Marcus sat directly across from Ethan, smiled that empty smile. Ethan began. He walked them through the entire system, showed the before and after metrics. Client retention had increased by 22%. Processing time had dropped by 38%. Revenue per client was up. Costs were down. Every projection had been met or exceeded. He answered questions, handled pushback, stayed calm. When Marcus asked pointed questions about resource allocation and timeline management, Vivian did not intervene, just watched. Let him prove himself. When he finished, the room was quiet. The CFO spoke first. This is solid work, Cole. Better than solid. The head of investor relations nodded. I want to implement this company-wide. How soon can we scale? Marcus leaned back in his chair, said nothing. Vivian stood. I think that answers your earlier concerns about my judgment. Ethan was the right choice. The results prove it. The board agreed. The meeting ended. People shook Ethan's hand, congratulated him, talked about next steps. Marcus left without a word. When the room emptied, Vivian turned to Ethan for the first time in 3 weeks. She smiled. You did it, she said. We did it. No, you did. I just gave you the chance. They stood there. The space between them felt vast. All the things they had not said. All the careful distance they had maintained. I need to tell you something, Ethan said. What? I almost called you last night to say that maybe we should step back. That maybe this is too complicated. That maybe I am not worth the risk to your reputation. Vivian's expression shifted. And I realized I don't want to step back. I do not care if it is complicated. I care about you and Lily cares about you and I think you care about us. She looked at him, really looked at him. I do care. More than I should. More than is logical. Then stop being logical. Vivian moved closer, close enough that he could see the exhaustion in her eyes. The weight she carried. I have spent my entire life being logical, being controlled, building walls. And then you opened a door and everything I built started crumbling. Is that a bad thing? No, it is terrifying. But it is not bad. She reached for his hand, held it right there in the conference room, where anyone could walk in, where the cameras probably recorded everything. I want to do this right, she said. I want to protect you and Lily. I do not want you to lose your job because of me. I do not want her to lose stability because we were reckless. What are you saying? I am saying we wait 6 months. We keep this private. Let the dust settle. Let people forget about Marcus and his suspicions. And then when the time is right, we stop hiding. Ethan wanted to argue. Wanted to say 6 months was too long. But he understood. She was protecting them. Protecting Lily. 6 months, he said. 6 months and then we build something real. He squeezed her hand. Deal. 6 months later, on a warm evening in late May, Ethan stood on his porch. Lily was beside him. Vivian was on her other side. The three of them watching the sunset paint the sky orange and pink and gold. Lily held both their hands. She had been asking all week when Miss Viv was moving in. Ethan had told her soon, not yet but soon. Today, Vivian had told the board, had made it official. Had weathered the raised eyebrows and the careful questions and the implicit judgment. Had stood firm. Now she was here, where she had been every weekend for the past 6 months. Where she belonged. I was thinking, Vivian said quietly. Ethan looked at her. About what? About building something new. The three of us, if you are willing. Lily looked up. Does that mean you are staying? Vivian crouched down, met her eyes. If you want me to. I want you to forever. Vivian's smile was soft, genuine. The walls completely gone. Forever sounds perfect. She stood, looked at Ethan. He reached for her hand. Together, he said. Together. She agreed. And for the first time since that door opened. Since that impossible moment that should have ruined everything. Ethan felt complete. They had built something real, something that mattered. Something worth every risk. The sun dipped below the horizon. The three of them stood together. And nobody wanted to go back to the way things were.